A TikToker stuck in 2027, a pilot who would have seen the future during a storm, or a man who would have met his double while unclogging his pipes. Make yourself comfortable, because if you like to hear paranormal stories, you're in luck. Here are 7 people who claim to have traveled in time. We warn you, you'll lose your way a bit. How first, by the fascinating story of Soul Survivor you must have heard about. It is this time traveler who claims he is the last survivor of the year 2027. Javier is a young Spanish user of TikTok, and in his videos, he claims to be a time traveler, that he is currently stuck in the year 2027, and that he is the last survivor of the Earth. He claimed that he woke up alone in a hospital in Valencia, Spain, that there is no one left with him, that only buildings and cars remain, and that the streets are empty. Under the name @Unico Sobreviviente, which means soul survivor, Javier has been sharing videos since February 2021, where he is alone in parks, churches, stores, subways, and many other places. There's no living soul, but he still has connection and electricity. Unbelievable. When people ask him how he manages to share videos, Javier explains that there is some kind of connection between 2021 and 2027. Well, we agree. Javier should not be taken very seriously, because even if his videos are very well done, his story is really far-fetched. At this time, our Javier must feel very alone in the world, to be taken at the second degree. But Javier is not the only one who tried to deceive his world by making the rest of humanity believe that he has lived in the future. Let us tell you now 6 other incredible stories of people who claim to be time travelers. Meet Adam Archon. Adam Archon is just another American. Well, pretty much. Having made a disturbing appearance on social networks, the man claims to have landed from the year 2045 and to hold information of great importance for humanity. Recently, he decided to give an interview to the channel Apex TV, which shares paranormal facts in the world and is followed by more than 1 million subscribers. On the video, the man talks about his time travels with all the seriousness in the world and even makes some shocking revelations. And to prove his good faith, he agreed to submit to a lie detector test. With his face blurred, Archon declared that he was born in 2019 and that he traveled in time to the past to inform humanity of what will happen in the future. The man revealed that there would be an alien invasion in 2028, that some cities like Los Angeles would be completely submerged underwater, and that the reason he chose to leave 2045 was because of the harsh weather conditions. But what interested the subscribers of Apex TV the most was the big revelation of the name of the President of the United States, who will be in office in 2045. Indeed, Archon declared that in 2045 there would not be a president, but a 37-year-old president whose name would be Yolanda Renee King, and that she would be the granddaughter of Martin Luther King. It's hard not to believe it when you know that today, aged only 13, the young girl is already walking in the footsteps of her illustrious grandfather. Yolanda has carried the flag several times during demonstrations to protest against the carrying of weapons and against violence against blacks. But as some of her revelations seem logical, others are implausible, especially when one is not the type to believe in what is paranormal. Moreover, there is no proof that the detector works perfectly since the results are simply displayed on the screen. However, the scene is hilarious, and even if Archon had a hard time convincing people of his crazy stories, he still made a lot of people laugh. Noah Novak and Noah Novak are 2 men, but at the same time, the same person. They claim to have lived an incredible thing. And to prove the legitimacy of their words, they decided to give an interview to the media to tell their story. Novak claims to be a time traveler from the year 2030, who met his double in 2070. Yes, you heard that right. Both men claim to be the same person. In the video, one of the 2 men states that the other Noah provided him with personal information that led him to believe that they are, in fact, the same person. He says that the second Noah knew everything about him, as if he had always lived with him. At the time of the interview, both Noah Novaks claimed that Trump would be elected president again in 2020, that artificial intelligence would dominate the world, that life on Mars will be possible, that there will be no more cars, and that Bitcoin will become the world's main currency. Although all these revelations seem realistic, the 2 Novaks have been met with tides of mockery because the story of how they met seems twisted and absolutely outlandish. Let's hope that at least one of their revelations will come true so that they can gain credibility, because when they start like this, they look like clowns from the future. Alexander Smith was a man like many others. One day in 1981, he was recruited by the CIA for a strange and top-secret mission. According to him, he had been asked to travel to the future until 2118 and to bring back with him proof of his journey. Recently, he decided to share his story with the internet and give more details. He then recorded a video with his face uncovered and with irrefutable and tangible proof, a photo of the city where he went. In a video viewed several million times, the man with the shaved head shows a blurred image of a city but does not specify how he got there or where it is. It appears to show large, oddly shaped green buildings. Smith claimed that the image was of poor quality due to the distortion it suffered during travel. According to him, the original photo was confiscated by the government. While warning of the many threats to the human race, the man said that by the middle of the 21st century, the Earth will be invaded by aliens. Smith also invited the inhabitants of Earth to actively fight against global warming, which he said had wreaked havoc in the future. Alexander said that by recording this video, he risked his life because the CIA is now actively looking for him for disclosure of secret data. He stated that he was currently living in hiding, so he would not be found, and that he had made the video to ensure that everyone would know about it before he was caught and killed. Now that he has completed his mission, shouldn't he be in an asylum or mental hospital? What do you think? Robert Victor Goddard was a senior commander of the Royal Air Force during World War II. One day in 1935, Goddard decided to fly over an abandoned airfield not far from Edinburgh. But during the flight, the pilot encountered a violent storm. He was caught in strange yellow-brown clouds that nearly caused a crash. Goddard lost control of his plane, which began to spiral downward toward the ground. While trying to avoid the crash, the pilot headed for the nearest airfield. But just as he was about to arrive, the storm suddenly disappeared, leaving a bright, shining sun. Robert Goddard was able to resume his flight, but he noticed that what he was flying over was not at all like what he had seen before. The pilot noticed that the hangars had strangely changed. They had become different. They now housed 4 aircraft. 3 were biplanes that were familiar to him, but were painted a strange yellow. And the 4th was a monoplane, which the RAF was not supposed to have in 1935. As for the mechanics, they wore blue overalls, while the RAF ones wore brown. He was also surprised that none of the mechanics present that day had noticed his presence while he was flying at low altitude. This experience was very unsettling for our pilot, who thought he was on the ground. As he left the area, Goddard encountered the storm again, but managed to get out safely and return to Andover. The most incredible thing is that 4 years later, the RAF started to paint its planes yellow and used the uniforms that Goddard had seen during his flight. Towards the future? So Goddard was the cause of this change? Or not? Was it really a trip to the future, or a simple hallucination? I simply say that the storm was perhaps a little too violent. What about you? You've probably already seen this picture on the net, but you've never heard about its history. Would you like to know more? Very well, but be careful. We're going to take a little trip back in time. Don't worry, it will be a very short trip, since we go back to the very beginning of the years 2000, precisely in October 2000, when a certain John Titor appears in the photo. Publishing it on forums dealing with time travel, the man claimed to come from the year 2036. You will notice that the photo taken in Canada dates from the 40s, considering the clothes of the men who appear there. You can see a large crowd of people who seem to be watching something. On the right side of the picture, a man dressed in 21st century clothes stands out. It is John Titor. Dressed in sunglasses, a shirt, and a sweatshirt, the man had his hands on what looked like a Polaroid. He claims to be a soldier recruited by the government as part of a top-secret program to return to 1975 to retrieve an IBM 5100 computer. He said he had made a short stopover in 2000 to visit his family and took the opportunity to kindly inform us of some predictions. Among other things, he said that a civil war would break out in the United States in 2015, and that it would split the American Constitution into 5 separate units. The analysis of the photo revealed that it had not been touched, which only increased the beliefs around the subject. Despite this, other people did not agree with his statements and think that it was a big hoax. For them, this John Titor was simply ahead of his time. They also had counterproofs. The glasses were very similar to those used by the actress Barbara Stanwyck in the film Bane in 1941. The shirt was in fact a fine wool sweater, very fashionable at the time, and the sweatshirt was finally only a cardigan, a garment that men wore in the 40s. As for the camera, it was only a Kodak flashlight. Did this story turn your brain upside down? It's normal. You are not the only one. Titor's case remains one of the most captivating and popular paranormal facts in the world, commented by very serious specialists. In 2006, a Swedish man named Håkan Nudkist was in his kitchen. The 36-year-old man wanted to fix his clogged sink. Having to twist and turn to reach the pipes at the bottom, Håkan discovered a hidden tunnel in his house. The tunnel was illuminated by a strange light. The man decided to go through it, don't ask me how, and once out of the tunnel, he realized that he had traveled back in time to the future. He then meets an older version of himself, since the two men look exactly alike and have the same tattoo on their arms. This man explains to his double that they were in 2042. Haakon then decides to take a small video of what he was experiencing, just to prove his claims when he would return to 2006. Haakon then went back to his time and brought the famous video with him, showing the two men having a nice time. If he succeeded in convincing thousands of people with this sordid story, other, more down-to-earth people who do not believe at all in a life after the pipe support the fact that this hoax was created for advertising purposes for a pension fund. So Haakon made this trip to the future for nothing. Too bad. He had to make a long trip. But at least he will know what is going on under a sink. What do you think of these incredible stories? Give us your opinion in the comments. We can't wait to hear what you think. And if not, did this video take you on a journey? If so, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell to receive all notifications.